Yesterday they said the Queen died. Bitch, I thought they was talking about Dana Owens. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Foster, I Refuse podcast. I almost made it to the weekend, minding my African American business, but alas, y'all wouldn't let that happen. So, yesterday they said the Queen died. Queen Elizabeth, I think her name was. And it happened pretty fast because at one point, I think in the same day, they said, oh, she's in a terrible condition and, the doctors are on their way, and then bam. They said she passed away at 96 years old. And the news is getting mixed reaction. I just don't know where to start. But I will say this. It's clear that the whites are distraught, laying their clothes out for the bereavement, for the viewing, in shambles, yada, yada, yada. They're revering the monarchy over there in the UK highly. Oh, such beauty, such grace, such a powerful family, such an amazing legacy. Those of us over on this side, the blacks, we're like, sorry to this woman who passed away. Long life. Beautiful gowns. She's with her husband. We made lunch yesterday and we ate and we kept it pushing. Yada, 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 yada. The passing of Queen Elizabeth, and more importantly, the reactions that it's gotten, is the prime example of the experience in life that we have and the experience in life that they have. And on this channel, whenever you listen to the I Refuse podcast, when I say they, you should know exactly what I'm talking about. The whites. I don't know if it was an obsession when they were younger with like Brit music and the Beatles and UK television that they must have felt some like insane connection to the image of the monarchy and the castle and how whimsical and all that shit, right? Now, for those of us who've been paying attention, the last 5 years, it's just, the image is just not turning all the way around for me. Like, I'll get to the 90s and the 80s, how they treated Diana, but the last 5 years, I'll give you 5 years, when Prince Harry started courting, he disappeared for a while, like there wasn't a lot of attention, then he popped up with Meghan Markle, and in a major way. Like, given the fact that we're probably the only demographic that pays very close attention to history and how, tradition, long-standing in the UK and over there, just how they're allegedly racist. There's alleged, discrimination against people of color and black people over there. Like, it was, we cracked a lot of jokes when Prince Harry popped up with this black girl, how, London Bridge is falling down. London Bridge is falling down, and that paper brown bag test is going to die, is going to like buckle in shambles. And they're going to absolutely hate it. And in some ways, we were right. Like, understand that racism at this point is nuanced. Like, it's still there. There are people out here that are upfront with theirs and know what they stand with you. They'll tell it to your face. And there's, to some degree, a lot of respect for that. But then you have those out here that feel it's more important to try to hide it than to not be it at all. And a lot of what's happening these days is more like a nonverbal or disguised as a joke, or the treatment is different. I mean, the treatment, that's been a common thread dating back to the 1600s. It's a disdain that's rooted in the attitude that we're inferior. And, during the weekend of the wedding, like the coverage for that damn thing with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, like that sucker went on for days. And I know there's a time zone difference, but I remember the look on the Queen's face, and I'm sure that was a constant in reaction to having this black woman share the same air as you. Now, with that, I can go back even further. How Princess Diana was treated, right? From the moment she got married to Prince Charles back in the 80s, all the way up into her death. Now, I was 15 when Princess Diana died, and I can say that gears turned, and even then I was like, I feel like they, to some degree, had a hand in that. Because here's the thing. Whether people want to believe it or not, politics and regimes and kingdoms and the fandom that comes with that plays a huge role in influence, like not only the public, but like the media. And with that, there's a lot of power. Like, you got to understand that it wasn't easy for Princess Diana. She didn't come from glamorous stock. She didn't come from like upper echelon, higher society. She came from like a smaller town, and her mom worked a regular job, like her parents worked regular jobs. So picture that with, there's this castle and all this power and prestige, and the amount of elitism that comes with that. Like, at some point in your 80-some years, I wouldn't put it past any of them to, being behind those gates for so long, that you feel like you're better than everybody else. Which is different than separation of monarchy from state or whatever. It's all about ego and attitude. So I could only imagine, on top of being in a loveless marriage with Prince Charles, who was allegedly busting down Camilla at some point that entire time, and Princess Diana knew about it, hence why they divorced. And then, you're still living over there. And your your star or your image or your relevancy gets greater in the public eye since divorcing Prince Charles, right? I'm sure they had to hate that. I remember in middle school, yeah, all through middle school and maybe a couple years of high school, where Princess Diana was everywhere. And she wasn't just over in the UK, she was like with the celebrities over here, like Kiki and all that stuff. And she was doing a lot of philanthropic efforts, like raising a lot of money for sick children, cancer, AIDS, really working her charm, and stunningly beautiful. Like she became at some point bigger than the monarchy or the them over there. So I know they had to burn their potatoes. So when Princess Diana started dating the Middle Eastern billionaire and just going about her life, and then they both died, and the driver as well died in the tunnel accident. The news was that they were pursued by the paparazzi and they got out of control. But part of me was like, something about that just does not wrap all the way around for me. Because first of all, I saw the elevator and lobby footage. They showed that. Like, I think they covered her death for about a week. When the accident too. And I remember I was like, it doesn't look like a madhouse as they're coming out. And usually with the paparazzi, they have the 411. Like whether somebody inside the camp called or somebody in the hotel. Like Princess Diana was like hot. So I'm like, it looked like a regular day in the lobby. And it's like after the accident happened, you didn't see anything else. Like there were no other cars. There wasn't any like further investigation or questioning by the paparazzi, because it's like, y'all on an island. Pretty sure you can find the parties, the other drivers and the other cars involved. And there really wasn't a whole lot coming out of that. And then, after her funeral and everything, like there really wasn't much going on. It was almost like everybody went on with their life and they didn't give a shit. And I started thinking, I'm like, here you have it. Your prized prince, your son, with a failed marriage. And I'm sure within the monarchy, I'm theorizing, that marriage is held in high esteem. Like, I'm pretty sure they went above and beyond to cover up the fact that Charles allegedly had extramarital affairs with Camilla. Like, there was conveniently no news coverage of that. But they did start to theorize post Diana's death that Charles and Camilla were something. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, well, I'm sure it's just the UK fog. But it's something about how people just don't, people just pass along with their lives and just keep going as if nothing happened. There wasn't much of a presence in my memory watching when I was younger that there was like some kind of united front from the Queen and the King at the time. The boys were still relatively young. and Charles was it. But as I got older and started getting into history a little bit more, there were some other things that were really troubling to me, like pedophilia and sex trafficking and sexual assault with teenagers. Like, not for nothing, between them and it's another, I think it's Prince Edward, who I believe visited Epstein Island. I don't think he really faced anything from what he did on the island. But it's one of those things where it's like they have the power to cover up a lot of things, except their disdain for black people. Like, it's one thing to have your nose in the air when surrounded by commoners, right? But it's another thing to show your disdain for black people in their face and probably think the rest of us are not going to catch on to it. So our experience of the Queen and what we know of the monarchy, because, those of us that read and are intuitive and acknowledge history, we're good on the glamour and the image and, such a big deal, such a strong woman to hold such a regime or this dynasty for so long. It's like Clyde has kept none of that over there is that busting. Like, please. So it's wild to me that people are just, yesterday a lot of them were like in shambles over it and were so in awe of the power that the woman had and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, an older lady passed. I'm sorry to hear that. I had a chicken wrap for lunch yesterday. Like, we could still be decent about it. In my mind, Queen Latifah is still alive and well. And I love that. My queen is still alive. Michelle Obama's still alive and well. And I love that for us. I think a lot of people should really start to become more aware. Become a little bit more aware as to the history and the traditions that are still in place for those that don't look like them. Once they get to that point, they can begin to understand our perspective a little bit more. Because I'm like, okay, sorry to hear that. On the tail end of that, they were cracking jokes on Twitter about how the first queen will be a man. And I was like, shut TF up, okay? It'll be interesting how things will look going forward because Camilla was the side piece, right? And the joke is, side chicks are going to have a come up. The city girls are going to be head over heels. Like, it's really going to be something. At some point after Princess Diana's passing, Prince Charles and Camilla did marry at some point. But we didn't forget the fact that she was the side piece first. back in the 90s. And maybe as early as the 80s. But, people want to act like that's not in play. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if Prince Harry will come around those Bamas. And I think him and Prince William are cool, I guess. But I think Prince William also had an issue with Meghan Markle. Any issue you have with a black person, trust me, is one-sided. It's really not that deep. But people like to play that up to get what they want. It's gonna be wild. But like I said, my queen's still alive and well. Khadijah is still alive and well. And that's all I got on that. Another thing, Ari Lennox's third album is out today. I'm on my fourth listen. Age, Sex, Location is the name of the album. It's 12 songs. I love about 3 or 4 songs. Like, I can pick those out and put those on a playlist and be good. It's a solid set. I like her previous album more. That's just me. But I can definitely see that she is going in a solid direction. I was getting worried at first. 'Cause I'm like, girl, it's been about 3 or 4 years since that last album. And I was like, I pray she doesn't end up in like a Top Dog type of situation like SZA has, where we don't get new shit for a while. Like, Pressure came out last year. She did the song Unloyal with Summer Walker, which should have got video treatment. Summer is on this album as well. Queen Space. It's cute. Chloe's on the album. That's the song they did together is pretty good. Even though it reminds me too much of Sit On It that Ari did with Jasmine Sullivan. The song that Ari did with Lucky Day is good too. He does really well on duets, by the way, Lucky Day. But that's all I got. Ain't got no more. This is Mr. Fox I Refuse podcast. Follow and subscribe wherever you see us. And take it easy. Peace.